everybody. Welcome to Fancy Lady Talks.
Come for the boobs, stay for the brains.
Woo! I'm Marissa. This is Rosie Betts. And we're going to talk to you today about healthy dating while you're healing.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Really important topic and one that is close to our hearts because we're healing and we're dating.
We are. I mean, so much is talked about around like unhealthy dating, taking a break from dating to do your healing work, which I really wholeheartedly support.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Which we both done, for sure.
But you can also date while you're in the process of healing. So let's create a little discernment for everybody about when you would take a break and when you can actually just move forward and continue to date.
That's a good question.
So I think that if you are dealing with your deep trauma, it's take a break.
Totally. So if you are working with a professional and you are exploring childhood trauma, nervous system deregulation, experimenting with medication even.
Sexual assault issues, or revisiting that or healing for the first time.
Yeah.
Family of origin, like getting into deep family of origin stuff. Like if you are in a place where you're going in and out of dissociation or you're feeling deeply triggered on a regular basis, don't get into the dating zone. Take a little break because dating in and of itself and being in romantic relationships is highly triggering.
Well, actually, my therapist, when I started doing this work, he told me that being in an intimate relationship with another human is the most difficult thing we will do in our lives. Like actually figuring out how to do that and stay and be and navigate, you know. It'll be the most difficult thing we do. So you want to make sure you're in, you know, a relatively good place to do so.
Yeah, you want to be gentle and kind to yourself, but also kind to those around you. There's times that I've gotten out into the dating world or started the relationship, and I think now, like, oh shit, I had no right to be doing that. I was just trigger fast 100%. It was not kind to myself. It was not kind to the other person. So that's when, like, it's okay to take a step back. It's okay to just let yourself rest. Yeah. And also to put all your focused energy into your own healing.
I think a good way to know if you're ready to date or not is, like, if you're feeling a compulsive need to go out there and date, don't date.
No. Do the opposite.
Yeah, because you know in that moment, like, what are you trying to avoid? What are you trying to fix?
Yeah.
You know, instead of like coming from a place of waiting a little bit, you know, and then determining and discerning if you're ready.
And I would also say, like, even if you're not going through all this stuff, if you are somebody who goes from relationship to relationship to relationship, or as soon as you're out of a relationship, you're making love to somebody, you're dating a million people, take a little break. Take a little time to sit with yourself, because to me that would also indicate that maybe you're not really focusing on everything around yourself and your own healing that needs to be focused on.
Even just do an experiment, you know? What would happen if I took 90 days off from dating at all without, you know, texting somebody for a hit or without
being online dating and chatting.
What would happen? Like, now is a good time to try that because we're all sort of unlocked in, right? So try it out. What would it be like to spend 90 days with just, you know, yourself and your own relationships and creating your own things, not looking outside of yourself for something.
Yeah, not seeking some external validation.
Mm-hmm.
And then when would be appropriate for us to date on our healing journey? What does that look like?
When would it be?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's like checking in. How do I feel about myself right now? You know?
And, you know, when you've gotten through maybe the deeper, more heavy work, you're more grounded in yourself, or you've taken that break and you're ready to get back out, but you're like, oh, I'm not totally healed, but that's okay. You can take being triggered. You can take getting into some conflict, because being in relationships will bring up conflict as well. You have the emotional resilience to do that. You have the ability to regulate your nervous system, to come back to groundedness, to calm, right? You're still exploring, say, boundary work. Totally. It's appropriate to get out there and test those boundaries out on somebody.
How else are you going to learn them, right?
Exactly.
And I think knowing when you're triggered, this is important. So if you know your triggers, and you know what it feels like to be triggered, that's a good place to be when you're dating, because you're never going to be not triggered. Like, sorry, but that's just not going to happen. I wish. But you're going to know, what do I feel like when I'm triggered? What do I start thinking when I'm triggered? Like for me, when I'm triggered, I go into a shame place. So I go into like doubting myself and questioning myself. So that's when I know I'm being triggered. And then I look like, what's the trigger?
Yeah.
What just happened here? And then I can take a step back. That's how I know I'm ready to date, because I can do that work. But when I'm out there, I'm not ready to date, I don't even know I'm being triggered. I don't know what my triggers are.
No, you get into that space, often you get foggy.
Yeah.
Right?
Foggy's a good word.
Yeah, right? Kind of like, it's a little bit of, it's like a mini disassociation when you're triggered, you get foggy, and you're like, what the heck just happened? That felt off, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas you're talking about being able to see that same thing comes up, and it's going to. You're going to get triggered no matter how fabulous the person is.
Totally.
Right?
Maybe you'll get triggered even more, you know?
You might, well, and you're going to do what Marissa said, which is you're going to take a little pause, and you're going to be like, oh, what was that about? Was that about me? Was that about them? What actually was problematic for me about that? And like for me, my trigger, when I'm triggered, I get defensive. I get into fight mode. Marissa goes into shame. I'm like, we're going to fight the fuck out. We're going to just battle this.
I do the opposite.
Let's do this. And
so you're fight and I'm freeze, I think.
Yeah. And so that's when I'm like, oh, what's happening here? I'm having it, like, even if, say, I'm scrolling social media, I can feel that feeling come up.
Yes.
And like, oh, why, what did that bring up for me? So these are all beautiful places to come into dating.
I think another way you can know if you're ready is ask the people closest to you. Ask,
Yes.
I mean, you have to be ready for the responses, but
for honesty,
you can ask them like, hey, you know me really well. Do you think I'm ready to date?
Yeah.
You'll get an honest response, right?
Oh, yes.
Somebody might say, you know what, Marissa, I think you need to do a little bit more time on your own, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't want the answer, don't ask. But it
Yeah,
might be a
totally.
good place. Check in with your therapist. Check in with your coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Connect with your community and see if it's appropriate time. And then go in. And then, like Marissa and I have been saying all the way along, get a little buddy, right? As you're dating during your healing journey, like when you are in conscious states of healing, it's really helpful to have a little friend or bigger friends or big busted friends.
Just a fabulous friend.
A fabulous friend to connect with and be like, ooh, I got triggered and I really acted inappropriately, or hey, this happened and I'm so excited about my success I was able to pause, or I don't really understand what happened. I'm a little confused. What do you make of this?
Can we debrief? Yeah.
Do this in community. You don't have to be alone. And you know what? If you send us a DM, you send us a message, an email, we'll be your community. We absolutely will. We will email you back.
We will, definitely.
And we'll help support you, and we might do a video on what your questions are.
Yeah, we love this work, so just reach out. The other piece, I think, is getting comfortable with being alone.
Yeah.
You can start to notice, am I okay with being alone? And if you're terrified of being alone, might not be the best place to date from.
No.
Might
be a good time to take a break and actually, rather than withdraw from the dating scene, but start to really deepen your friendships.
Yeah, that's a great
Start to rely on your friendships, on your family, and on creating those intimate relationships in your life that are not built around romance or sexuality. And you can also, my dog's barking, as he likes to be the queen of every video, but I'm going to finish this thought before we sign off, is, you can also decide to cultivate relationships with the types of people that you will eventually become romantically interested in. But it can start off as friendships.
Right, and so you can share, if you are in this place, you can share with the person that you're starting to want to date, like, hey, I'm on this healing journey. I'm ready to date, but I'm still learning, I'm hoping that you'll be on this journey with me. Let's do this together.
Yeah, let's explore what secure attachment looks like. Let's explore what friendship looks like. Let's explore what building a relationship that's not around romance or sexuality And then if it evolves into something else, awesome. We've got a great foundation.
Great. Well, I think those are good starting ideas.
I think that's all we got to say, guys. Short, quick, sweet, simple.
And again, let us know if you have any questions and subscribe to our channel. Click like.
Click like.
We'll talk to you next week.
See you next week.